is the Social Media Marketing 102. Those of you that were with me on 101, thank you for coming back to the next session. So if you missed 101, no worries. I am doing it again in August, as well as this one will be done again. We have several coming up in August. So your social now what? Making social media work for you. I'll take a second to introduce myself. I'm Danna Crawford. I'm an authorized local expert and solutions provider with Constant Contact. I've been with them since 2007, and I'm based in Ocala, Florida. Here is my contact information. If you want to reach out following this session, you can send me an email, find me on Facebook, or reach out on Twitter. If you're not familiar with Constant Contact, we offer engagement marketing tools to help you create newsletters and announcements, offers and promotions, feedback and surveys, and events and registrations. You also get free coaching for your small business or nonprofit, and I will be sharing more information about that later. Not only do you get free coaching, but when you're in my network, you also get personalized coaching assistance with me for free. So if you attended the beginners social media webinar, Getting Started with Social Media, we briefly overviewed 3 or 5 of the big social networks: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and Pinterest, so you can get a better idea of what each channel is about. So today's webinar is going into more depth of each of these social networks, and that's why we're here today. You want to make sure that you're using the right social media network to promote your business or nonprofit. Each of these channels is a little bit different. Some may be a good fit for you and some may not, and that's okay. You don't need to use every social network if you don't want to. But we're going to help you find out what's right for you, for your business, so you can focus your time on the social networks that matter for you, your business, and your audience. Within each network, we'll look into the following. We're going to help you answer the question, is this right for my business? We'll show you how to create content specifically for each social network, and you'll see examples of how other organizations are using these channels. After a look at the network, we'll give you some next steps to move forward, including specific recommendations and also the do's and don'ts of social media marketing. You'll learn etiquette so you can make a good impression online, and we'll also discuss how to know if the channels you're using and the content you're creating is working. And then we will have a Q&A. So as I mentioned, feel free to type in your questions as we're going along, and then if your question gets answered, please remove it. There's a place for you to type a question in, and then at the end, I will stop the recording and turn on my webcam, and I will be here to answer your questions. So let's start with Facebook. The most popular of the social media networks, it has over 1.1 billion users, and many small businesses and nonprofits are already using it in their marketing. If you have prospects and customers, chances are they're on Facebook. But is it right for your business? Okay, if you are a B2B, which is a business to consumer, Facebook can be a good fit for you. 89% of your peers are using it for marketing, and many of them are finding success with Facebook. If you're a B2B, that's business to business, many of your peers are using it to reach out to customers and clients. If you're a nonprofit, just about all nonprofit organizations are using Facebook, actually 91%. So this is one way to help you figure out if Facebook is a good fit. Is it working for a business or a nonprofit like yours? And let's think about how to make Facebook effective. It can work for you, if you use it, best practices to grow your audience and keep them engaged with the content that you are sharing. Here's some realities about Facebook marketing. There are some practical things to consider. You need to be visible and active to reach your fans, and you have to keep up with the conversations happening on Facebook. You need resources for Facebook marketing. You do need to make some time for it during the week. The amount of time is up to you. With Facebook marketing, or really all social media marketing, you get out of it what you put in it. Who is going to run your page? Is it you or someone on your staff? You need a person who is dedicated and focused to your page. Do you have things to say about your business? Can you share news, photos, events, tips? If you deal with sensitive, private, or competitive information, can you share things about your corporate, industry, or local area instead? Facebook is playing a big role in search right now. Not only are people searching through search engines like Google, they're using mobile search and the Facebook mobile app to find businesses and check into them. The more people talk about you and check in, the more you'll come up in search. Facebook is a low-volume, high-value network, which means that your frequency should be low. Fans get frustrated if they see that a business or brand is dominating their newsfeed, but every piece of content you post should be valuable to your audience. In other words, you do need to plan ahead. Don't post just to post. You need to be strategic about your content, and we'll show you how to do that later. We suggest that you post at least 3 times a week to keep your relationship with your fans going and to be visible to them. But don't go overboard. 10 times a week, 2 times a day is plenty to keep top of mind with your fans. When you're sharing content on Facebook, don't just post to post. Focus on quality content. And what is that quality content? Let's talk about some best practices to keep in mind for when you're creating Facebook content. Fortunately, we have a rule of thumb at Constant Contact that will help you come up with the right things to talk about on social media. If you've taken the Getting Started with Social Media webinar, you've seen this before, so this is a refresher for you. 50% of the content you post should be aimed at getting likes, shares, and comments. That means that it needs to be entertaining and invite conversation, asking questions, asking for opinions, using images and video, as well as being timely. Is there an event or holiday coming up? 30% of your content should be useful information. Provide information about your industry that your customers will find interesting. Become known as a source for important information and tips, whether that content is from your own blog or from other blogs that you trust. If you do that stuff correctly, then you've earned the right for 20% of your content to be directed for your business. This doesn't necessarily have to be by now. So let's look at some different types of content, but I want you to keep these best practices in mind, the 50-30-20 rule. Text updates are really quick and easy ways to update your Facebook fans, and you can get some great interaction if you do them right. So here's an example. A fill-in-the-blank post is a really easy post that you can do that will spark conversation. Part of your 50% content, so here's one we did about Pinterest. You tell us. What I don't understand about Pinterest is, we're asking our fans to share their opinions, fill in the blank, and let us know how we can help them. You can see there's a lot of back and forth on this post, more than 40 comments from people who needed Pinterest help. So try asking your audience a question. Another way to allow them to share an opinion and start a conversation. This question is when we were posting about multiple users login functionality that we were adding to our email marketing product. So this is one of the 20% of posts about our business, but it's not buy now. We thought we'd ask the customers what they thought this function should be called. We're giving them an easy way to provide us with some input, and it shows that we are building products with them in mind. Next, share a fun fact or a tip. People love trivia, and they love insider tips they might not have heard before. This is something that you can do for the 30% of content that's useful and informative. So these text updates are all easy ways to generate conversation and sharing on Facebook. But it's important to also share multimedia on Facebook. So let's talk about ideas for visual content. Visual content is an important part, not only your Facebook marketing, but for social media marketing you do. 90% of information transmitted to the brain is visual. We see before we read. And on Facebook, visual content gets the best engagement. Photos are liked 2 times more than updates. You need to be sharing photos on Facebook. The easiest way to do this is with the Instagram app, which Facebook owns, by the way. You can share photos individually, and you can add an Instagram app to your Facebook page. Your fans can go to the app anytime to check out your Instagram stream. And try combining images and text to make a text update more visually appealing. When we share tips, we often use a royalty-free stock image or a graphic and add text to it using a free photo editing app called PicMonkey. That's PICMONKEY. It's a free tool you can get. Videos are another great way to bring your content to life. Keep them short and provide a clear description. If you produce digital content like blogs or guides or ebooks, it's easy to create a visual post on the webpage also. So many of you listening today have most likely tried both text and multimedia content on your Facebook. So here is an exercise. Now, this is the first time I've ever done this on a webinar, but there is a place for you to download handouts. So it should be, you should be able to see it at the side of your toolbar or whatever it's called, your area here on the webinar. So feel free to download that handout. It's a PDF file, and the exercises that I'm going to show you are all on that. And then you can print it out if you like, or you can just have it on your desktop and just use it as a reference and then write down the answers on a piece of paper. But this is a good way to help you, and I thought it was a great addition for this presentation. So 50% get more likes, shares, entertain, invite, conversion, conversation, ask questions, images and videos. 30% be useful, informative, and then 20% about your business. So here's a little place for you to fill in the blank to help you get your brain going for the things that you're going to post on Facebook. So feel free to download that handout. Something that can help a lot is an editorial calendar. And this can be as simple as a blank calendar you print out and keep it at your desk or scheduling Facebook posts in your Outlook calendar. Having a calendar helps you figure out what to post, that your important messages are getting out there, and that you're consistent and interacting with your fans. You don't need to plan far in advance. You plan for the upcoming week. You know what's coming up as far as events or sales, products, or anything happening at your business that has been planned. At the end of the week, you can start scheduling some content ideas for the next week, but also be flexible. Save some space for something that comes up at the last minute or to share something interesting that you found. So who's doing this right? Who is successful with their Facebook marketing? A great example is this company called The Loco. They're a chain of burrito restaurants in New England, and they use a lot of the best practices that we talked about earlier. They ask questions of their fans to get them talking and sharing their opinions. And then they share multimedia. They take lots of photos and videos about what they do, information about their products, a look behind the scenes, something with charity and community outreach. They are helpful to their fans and answer their questions, address concerns, and provide information about their menu items. They also get their fans involved in the content and regularly share fans Instagram photos on the page, or they'll make them the Loco page cover photo. So that's a huge that's a huge way to get a super fan. We talked about best practices for Facebook. We've looked at what kinds of content you should share. An example of a business that's doing a great job with Facebook marketing. So what could you do next? If you are using Facebook for your business, what are some things you could try next? We have 3 suggestions for you. First one, try a fill-in-the-blank or question post. Number 1, create and share visual content. Now, side note, I actually use the website Fiverr. I'm sure you've heard of it. You buy something for $5. And I just recently bought 25 graphics with a logo on it that I purchased for our food bank because I'm helping them with their marketing. And so I went ahead and bought 25 graphics for $5 with the food bank logo on it. And their visual content, they're very cool looking pictures. So there's lots of resources out there for you to purchase photos, stock photos, and then put your .com on it as well, or a saying, a quote. That's another way to create. Also, monitor your page. Is your content engaging? Are people just liking it, or are they actually commenting? These are the kinds of things that you want to pay attention to, because no worries, don't freak out if they're not commenting, because that should encourage you to put something better out there with the next post, because you will find your way in your with your audience. Just keep trying different things, and then when you realize that something is successful, now you've got it. Start doing more of it every other day or however many times a week that's good for you. So our next social network is Twitter. And what makes Twitter stand out from the other social networks? It's the fastest moving. When you check out Twitter, you'll see tweets posted in real time. And there's a lot being posted at a rapid pace. It becomes a place to catch breaking news. Twitter has over 500 million users, and 400 million tweets are posted daily through Twitter. And I will admit, Twitter is actually one of my favorites. Coffee break. But should you use Twitter for your business? This is what you're going to decide. There are a lot of B2C, which means business to consumer, on Twitter at 80%. 80%. As far as B2B, business to business, slightly more are using it at 85%. And lastly, nonprofits are using Twitter as well, but at a smaller rate. So this is the landscape for your peers, but still, is Twitter right for you? Twitter, again, is a fast-paced network. It's a real-time feed of conversations. It's a hungry beast, so you need the resources to feed it. The first of those, just like Facebook, is a resource to dedicate to Twitter time and staff. I'll be honest with you, I will share with you what I personally use. Twitter brings me a lot of business, and I love using it, and I use a site called Twitter Feed. It's not in this presentation, but just write it down. It's twitterfeed.com, and it's free. And it's very easy to set up, and there's tutorials there, and I wanted to share that with you because it works very well for me. So I'd rather use Twitter Feed than hire someone. You need someone, though, to spend time finding and sharing content on Twitter. It's important to share content you created, but it's also important to curate content. Curating content means sharing content you found on other websites or blogs. And that's one of the things that can help you form relationships through Twitter. People love it when you share their content, and they'll be more willing to have a public conversation with you on Twitter, thank you, and share your stuff when you put it on there. So you need resources for monitoring Twitter to keep track of what's being said about you and to address questions or comments. You can really build your brand and reputation on Twitter. The more content you share that you create, and the more interesting and useful content you share that's being created by others, will show that you're an expert in your industry. You're tuned in to what's happening. And people will turn to you when they're looking for information or advice. Twitter is a high-volume, low network, a lot different than Facebook. This means because of the high volume of conversations happening on Twitter, you need to tweet several times a day. I'm tweeting right now. The tweets don't have to have that high value like Facebook posts. Your tweets need to be interesting to your audience, but they don't have to be as carefully crafted as a Facebook post. We do suggest that you post at least 5 times a day to be visible in that high volume stream of content that's happening on Twitter. There's no maximum recommendation for tweets, but make sure you are spacing them out over time. Don't send out all of your tweets at once. Your content will dominate the feed, and people will get frustrated. When you're sharing content on Twitter, quantity really is important. Remember, the pace of information being shared on Twitter is fast. There's a lot happening at once. Be visible, watch your timing with your tweets, and you will get noticed as part of the Twitter conversation. So let's talk about some of the best practices to keep in mind for when you're creating and sharing content on Twitter. When you're sharing content on Twitter, it's either going to be content you created or content you found on other websites or blogs. Again, that's called curated content. It's important to strike a good balance of content. Definitely share your blog, your posts, your news, information about your business, sales, etc. But it's also okay to share something that someone else wrote. It doesn't matter that you didn't create it. All that matters is that it's interesting to your followers. So here's a blog post that Constant Contact shared on Twitter. It was written by someone on the staff. And here's one we shared from a blog called All Twitter. The key is both of these tweets contain links to something our audience would find interesting. One thing to note about sharing someone else's content, make sure you tag them in the tweet. They will get a notification that someone tweeted about them, and they will be thankful that you're sharing their work. It's a good idea also to retweet other people, which basically means to reshare their tweets. It means that you thought their tweet was important or interesting enough to share to your followers, and again, they'll get a notice that you retweeted them. It's also important to think about using hashtags in your tweets. A hashtag is putting the pound symbol in front of a word or phrase. It's like bolding those words and calling attention to certain topics in a tweet. There's some tips to keep in mind when using hashtags, so let's explore that a little bit. So you know about what a hashtag looks like, but what exactly is it? To get more specific, a hashtag consists of words or phrases with no spaces, preceded by the number sign that is used to tie various social media posts together and relate them to a topic. Originally, hashtags were created on Twitter, but today they can be used on Pinterest, Facebook, Google+, Instagram, LinkedIn, and other networks. So what's the point of using a hashtag? It's to help grow tweets that are part of a conversation around a live event or a certain topic. By clicking on a hashtag in a social post, that social network will automatically curate and display a feed of all other messages, also incorporating that same hashtag. Hashtags let you add content to a post and show that it's part of a larger discussion. To create a hashtag, simply include the number symbol in front of a word or phrase without spaces. Before you create one that's just for your business, do a search for it first, just to make sure no one else is using it and your conversation doesn't get lost in something that's already been established. You never know what people may be using hashtags to discuss. You wouldn't want to accidentally connect your business to a negative, conversational, or embarrassing topic. Don't abuse the hashtag. Save it for when you need it. Too many hashtags look spammy, and research has shown that engagement drops when a tweet has 2 or more hashtags. And don't create hashtags that look too long. Keep your hashtags short and sweet, easy to spell, easy to remember. If you want to incorporate your hashtag across multiple channels, you need to consider the character restrictions of those social networks. So what should you be posting on Twitter? Well, your tweets can be just text tweets, a simple statement, sentence or question that starts or contributes to a conversation. A tweet with a link back to resources, like your blog post, a fact, a stat or tip, or even a quote. I like to use quotes as well as all of these things. And sometimes I will actually set up all of my Twitter for the whole year with quotes for the holidays. And you can set all that up ahead of time, actually. You can share multimedia on Twitter. Photos and videos now show up on the Twitter screen. It's awesome. I love it. So make sure to post photos about your company, the culture, your products or services, and your events. Share videos you created. Remember when I mentioned PicMonkey earlier in the Facebook section? You can use that free tool to create graphics or word images and post them on Twitter as well. Whether you're sharing visual content, make sure you call attention to what you're sharing in the text of the tweet so to get people's attention, and use the word photo, video, tip, image, or guide in the tweet. Now here's another worksheet that is part of the handout that you are welcome to take advantage of in your leisure. And it'll help you going forward to plan out and prepare your tweets for your marketing. Okay, the Currier Museum of Art is a nonprofit art museum in New Hampshire, and they've built a successful Twitter following. How do they use Twitter? They inform their followers about news at the art museum, new exhibits, classes, and events like the image of their New Year's Eve party. They educate by sharing fun facts about the art and artists they exhibit. This tweet shares the term for African symbols as an exhibit. They retweeted other people's museums, artists, and news across sources about art in general, and they retweeted people who mention them. And they curate content, tweet and share content from other sources. This tweet links to a video about one of their artists. So what do you do next? What can you do today for your small business or nonprofit? First of all, try tweeting the minimum amount, which is at least 5 times per day, to be present in the Twitter feed to your followers. And then share others' content. And don't forget to tag them in the tweet so they'll know you share their stuff. This is also helping establish yourself as an industry expert because you share useful content from others. And then retweet someone you follow or thank someone who mentioned you. This will help you grow your relationship with other followers on Twitter who could start sharing your tweets as well. LinkedIn is our next social network. It has more than 238 million members. If you haven't spent too much time on LinkedIn or haven't started using it, LinkedIn is strictly a professional network focused on sharing industry news, tips, and stats, as well as jobs, resumes, and businesses. Is it right for your business? Well, if you are a B2B, business to business, and you sell products or services to other businesses, you really definitely should be on LinkedIn. But there are plenty of B2Cs there, and nonprofits do have a presence as well. Another reason to use LinkedIn is because it's a great place to show your expertise of being helpful, share your blog posts, answer questions, participate in discussions, and posting links to useful information created by you or others, including a digital asset like slide decks, which is a very cool addition to LinkedIn. You can add ebooks, studies, and guides. So there is definitely a lot of opportunity on LinkedIn. Is it right for your business? So let's talk about content on LinkedIn. What to post and when. LinkedIn is a low volume, oh gosh, I missed this one. If you're a B2B, LinkedIn content, here we are. Low volume, high value network. It's similar to Facebook. Make sure you're not taking over the news feed on LinkedIn with a lot of posts on a daily basis. Plan them out and make sure each one is valuable post to your audience. You should be posting at least twice a week on LinkedIn to help maintain a presence, but not more than 5 times a week. Not recommended. And the content you post should be more formal and technical. It should be about your industry and your business, but not everything has to be completely serious. You can talk about your company's culture or your industry's culture too, so you can show your personality. Now, page versus profile. One thing I do want you to know is there are 2 kinds of accounts you can have. One is a business page, and the other is a personal profile. So, what's the difference? This is a business page, and this is a personal profile. You could use both for business purposes, but for the sake of today's talk, we're concentrating on what you can do with a business page. It's important for nearly all businesses to have a business page, but for B2Bs, it's really quite critical. One of the reasons for using the business page is that someone's personal profile sticks with them. So if you have someone on your organization that's been really vocal and engaging, people on LinkedIn on behalf of your business, those relationships will follow that employee if they move on. With business pages, your content and interactions belong to your business. Make sure you fill out all the information and add content to it. Company culture, products and services, and recommendations are available there as well. Some of the content on LinkedIn is going to be about your business. You could be a little more vocal on LinkedIn about your business because of the culture there. Share news or announcements about your business. This constant contact post is an update of a new feature in our event marketing tool. It gives people, you should give people a look at your personality and your business's personality with information on what's going on beyond your product. Share some behind-the-scenes information or photos and videos of your employees. And finally, you can share recruiting posts on LinkedIn. So here's a video we created that talks about what happens behind the scenes at Constant Contact and highlights some of the employees and what they think about working there. There's a lot of educational, informative posts on LinkedIn, including blog posts and electronic publications such as guides or ebooks, or industry news, tips, or information. We often share blog posts, guides, facts, or tips on LinkedIn as well. These kinds of posts show off your expertise to your followers. And that's all kind of new on LinkedIn. Excuse me. Okay, next, your exercise page. So here is a page that's part of your download that you're welcome to print out or just leave it on the screen and you can answer the questions on another piece of paper. And that should help get your brain going to post at least 2 times per week, share content that's about you, post something useful for your audience, and that should help you get your going with your exercises. A good example of a business that uses LinkedIn well is called Market Me Suite. Market Me Suite is a marketing company and their product is a social media dashboard. They're a B2B business, so LinkedIn is a perfect way for them to start conversations with other businesses and share their expertise. So let me show you how Market Suite uses LinkedIn. First, they share blog posts they've written, which educates their customers and establishes their expertise. They're helpful. They post guides and other digital assets that customers can use. They also use LinkedIn to ask for customers' input to make their services even better. And they have some fun and show their personality by talking about the industry and the office. The last post, sorry, I missed it. The last post was about coffee, and they put up some information about the kind of coffee that they drink, and they asked what kind of coffee they like. So that should give you some good ideas as well. So what should you be doing if you're using LinkedIn? Make sure you've completed everything on your LinkedIn business page. Then be active. You should post at least twice a day so your business stays top of mind. This is the recommended. And when you post, try sharing something about your industry. It could be a blog post, a guide, an ebook, a news article. It can either be something you created or curated content from another source. Moving on to Google+. This network hasn't been around as long as Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, but it's experiencing an increase in users and traffic. So let's talk about how you might use Google Plus for your business or organization. Although Google Plus has been criticized for being a ghost town, it actually has over 343 million monthly active members. The most important reason for considering Google Plus is your findability. It's Google's own social network, so it's just smart to play on their playing field. Google Plus is owned by Google, duh. So is it right for your business? There's a little over half of B2C, business to consumer companies on Google Plus, and a little over half B2B, business to business. Nonprofits also have a small presence there. 23% are on Google Plus. So there are some businesses, organizations like yours using Google Plus for marketing. Is Google Plus a good fit for your business? If you create content, Google Plus is a good place to share it. Google Plus is similar to Facebook in many ways. You can post a lot of the same thing you share on Facebook. So make sure you have the time to nurture your Google Plus page. Do you have the time to add another network to your marketing? The biggest reason to use Google Plus is for the SEO value. That's search engine optimization. A lot of people use search engines like Google to search for businesses and organizations. If you have another social network that you're posting to, that's more content out there that's linked to you and your business. Before we go any further, let's talk a little bit about search engine marketing, SEO. Google uses complex and somewhat secretive algorithms that determine what shows up when a person searches on your business name or brand term. So to get found on Google, you want to produce quality content on a regular basis, and that includes information about you and your business and the keywords you want to be associated with in a Google search. Share that content on Google Plus so you can get found. Google loves fresh content, so it's important to update it regularly. One important difference between Facebook and Google Plus content is that Google, the search engine, indexes both Google Plus pages and posts, while on Facebook pages, not posts, are indexed, only pages. Also remember that Google is a robot, so be as descriptive as possible. Don't over-keyword everything you post there, but do make sure your content is keyword-rich. Which brings me to the final point, which is Google loves Google. This is the main reason you should be on Google+. You can use search engine optimization to a much greater advantage and increase your digital footprint if you utilize Google's own social network. When someone does a search on Google, it's going to look at its own resources first, right? So a presence on Google Plus will help to push you further to the top of a search engine. As far as content goes, Google Plus is a higher volume, high value network just like Facebook. So you should be posting more frequently there, and you should be offering higher value content. Post at least 3 times a week, and at the most, the max, is 10 times a week. And remember, this is about increasing your findability in a Google search. So the topics and keywords in your content are very important. Use the keywords you've already been using in your business website and in your blog to get found. Let's look at some types of content you can share on Google+. The content you share here can be useful information for your followers. Try sharing blog posts. We've talked about this already, but for searchability, and this can help you build your credibility as an expert in your industry. You can also create events on Google+, promote your events there, and then link to your registration page. Similar to other social networks, think about sharing interesting information about your industry. Google+ is also a great place to post multimedia. It displays photos and videos beautifully, as well as word images for republications like guides or ebooks. Google+ displays multimedia in a large format in its newsfeed, so anything visual you share will be noticed by your followers. For those of you that have been using Google+, I'm sure that you will know and feel the understanding for how important it is using these types of things. So, for those that are ready, there is also a handout for getting your brain going for ideas on posting stuff on Google+. So here is the Google+ page for Geek Girl Camp, which is an organization that trains women on technology and marketing. They're an educational organization, so they do write a lot of blog posts to help their clients solve problems, and they share those on Google+. They also talk about what's going on in the industry and share the latest reports. They have lots of events and use Google+ to announce events, post reminders, and they share photos of what's going on at and behind the scenes of the event. Geek Girl also shows off their personality. By sharing funny pictures and quotes, their audience is a lot like them, and they share the same kind of humor. Now that you know a little bit more about Google+, what can you do with it? All right, share your blog posts. What have you written to help your searchability? Try sharing multimedia, a photo, a video on Google+. And make sure you use keywords in the blog post or text updates to multimedia descriptions to help get you found in search. I hope you're still awake because our last network is Pinterest. Pinterest is the third largest social network in the U.S. 15% of all American internet users are on Pinterest. Is that crazy? 15%. It drives more website traffic than Google+, YouTube, and LinkedIn combined. And that's because a lot of people come to Pinterest with a shopping mindset. They're looking for items they want to buy. Pinterest referrals spend twice as much money on referrals from Facebook. So if you haven't already jumped on the Pinterest bandwagon, now is a good time to take that step. But I'll warn you, make sure that you eat before you visit, because I always get hungry when I go there. So are your peers on Pinterest? Let's take a look. More than half of B2C, business to consumers, are on Pinterest. As far as B2B, business to business, a smaller number, 34%, and fewer nonprofits, almost a quarter, are using Pinterest. Is it right for your business? Pinterest can be utilized for different purposes depending on if you're a retail business or not. But if you are a retail business, you can definitely use Pinterest to sell products. Make sure that it's not the only thing you're doing, but Pinterest is certainly a network where you can do that. If you can have great visuals, photos, multimedia graphics, or e-publications, Pinterest is a great way to show them off. And if you aren't a retail business, you can still use Pinterest, but you're going to be focused on using Pinterest for search performance, branding, and awareness to promote your business or organization. Pinterest is a high volume, high value network. So you need to make sure you have a frequent amount of posts during the week and not too many in a row, but make sure you are visible. The posts need to be valuable and interesting to your followers. So try to post to pin 5 times a day, but not to go on a pinning spree and dominate your followers feed more than 10 times a day. That's not recommended. And when you are pinning, make sure you use quality images. Anything that's too small, stretched, or fuzzy will stand out in a bad way, and you don't want that. If you already are using social media marketing for your organization, you know that visual content is huge. People engage more with photos than a text update. If you're using visuals in your marketing, you should be using Pinterest because it's how they process information. 90% of information transmitted to the brain is visual. Social media users are drawn to visual content. They interact and engage more with photos than text. And this is a Facebook statistic that I mentioned earlier, but it shows that people value visual content more. People like photos twice as much as text updates. People use images to research a purchase. 67% believe that images are a very important factor when selecting and purchasing a product. Remember, people are coming to Pinterest with a shopping mindset. So those images are part of the research they're doing on purchases. If you're not sure what to share on Pinterest, here are a few ideas. Of course, if you have products or services to sell, certainly, definitely, pin those to potential customers what you have available. If you do not sell products, then share your digital assets. This is a board of constant contact guides and ebooks. Any photos or videos you have of your staff or customers or what goes on behind the scenes are also great content to share on Pinterest. Try sharing content on Pinterest that will be entertaining and useful. Some of the constant contact boards are curated content, helpful blog posts, guides, stats, infographics they found on other sites, but organized by theme for people who are looking for help or advice on those topics. If you have a blog, create a board that links to all of your posts, and you can also use tools like PicMonkey to create graphical images. So try creating inspirational quote images or interesting quotes about your industry. And again, here is your exercise page. You can print out and use going forward. How others are using it? Here is the unique sheet. A craft store specializing in yarn and pattern. They pin their product and show the finished product. There's a whole board of photos of socks knitted using their patterns and yarn. The unique sheet also pins helpful resources for followers like seasonal colors, themes, inspiration, product ideas. They also curate content and share related pins that their audience is interested in, like the sheet pillow. The unique sheet staff is also active on Pinterest. They have a whole board of craft projects, recipes, how-to tips that staff members have found on other boards. They try them out and then report back on what worked and what didn't. That's a great idea, I think. What can you try on Pinterest? Create 3 to 4 boards to start and focus on topics your audience is interested in. Make it easy for your audience to pin content from your website. Make sure you install the pin it button, and you can find that on Pinterest website at aboutpinterest.com/goodies. And as you pin, make sure you're using the right keywords in your description so your pins are easy to find and provide a link directly to where people can purchase something or access content on your website. I also like to add hashtags on Pinterest. We've covered a lot tonight, so I know you know, I hope you know more about Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and Pinterest. You know if your peers are using these networks and what you can do with each of them to promote your business or nonprofit. So what are your next steps for social media marketing with these channels? Oops, that was the wrong way. It's important to keep these do's and don'ts in mind as you use social media to market your organization. Don't leave your social media page profile empty. Having an incomplete page not only looks bad, it may look like you're not active or interested in connecting with customers online. It's important to talk about your business on social media, but don't just talk about yourself every time you post. The best way to use social media is to help people solve problems and share interesting, entertaining content. You don't want to come off as it's all about me kind of person. Find a nice balance between promoting your business and offering your audience relevant content and solutions. Infrequent postings or posting too much are things you want to avoid. Be active. Follow our suggestions for the minimum amount to post on each channel so people know you're serious about your social channels and getting your business out there. But don't dominate the stream or newsfeed of your followers. This sounds like a small thing, but it's important. When someone interacts with your page, don't ignore them. It's important. Say thank you to people, to someone who shares something on your page, or offer a compliment or a nice review. They'll know you're listening, and they'll remember that. This might be a difficult one to follow, but you should not delete negative comments. I know it's frustrating, but you should leave them up. And here's why. You could turn this negative comment into a positive response. And your reaction is what's going to stick with the commenter and any of the people who have seen it. Address the commenter's issue, apologize, then move the conversation to a private space. By addressing the negative comment publicly, it shows your fans that you care about concerns and opinions, and you have great customer service. If you share a link, a photo, or a video on social media, don't just post the content and walk away. Tell people why you're posting this link. What's interesting or helpful on this page you want them to click on. If there's no context, people might not click because they don't know what they're clicking, and why should they care? So beyond the content etiquette, how do you know if you're doing social media right? How do you know if it's working? You do need to monitor your network. Each of the social networks has its own analytics, and you do need to check on those once in a while. But if you are newer to this, just start out. I just want you to focus on two things. The first is engagement. Be mindful of the frequency, days of the week, and times you're posting. Consider the type. Text updates, photos, videos, or links. Think about the 50-30-20 rule. Are you sharing engagement, useful content, and balancing that with content about your business? What's your audience response to that content? Look at your content on a regular basis and think about what you posted. See what kind of results you got. Did you get likes, comments, shares? And don't worry if you got likes but no comments or shares. Any activity is good, and it shows that people are paying attention to what you're sharing. Focus on the content that your audience engages with, and don't post things they haven't or don't react to. Another benefit of the engagement when someone likes, comments, or shares your content, that activity is being seen by their network. That's the magic. This is digital word of mouth, and those actions are a way of endorsing you to their friends, which could get you more fans and followers. So monitor your Facebook page likes. As you continue to post while focusing on what your audience wants, and when they want it, you will see your fan base go up. So keep in mind, this does take time. Your page is not going to explode overnight. This is about building relationships, Building relationships with actual people does not happen overnight, and that's what you're doing with these social networks. You're sharing and having conversations and getting to know each other. So stick with it. You'll build those relationships, and you will get results. I promise. Now go do it. If you want to start new social channels for your business, use what we learned today or pick the networks that will work best for your business. I want you to know that it's okay if you're not doing everything. You don't have to be on every network. Just focus on what's going to work for your business and your audience. We've included the worksheets on the slides, as I mentioned, and you'll be getting today that provide for you to think about what to post. Use your best practice and the 50-30-20 rule we talked about to create content and write your ideas. And at the end of each social network session, we've got 3 ideas for you to try. So start using those suggestions if you haven't taken those steps already. It's important to keep tabs on what's working and what's not. Look for audience engagement with your content. What topics and content types do they like? Are you posting at the right time and frequency? Sit down and check on a regular basis. Do more of the marketing they like and less of what they don't, and you will build on the relationship of your followers and gain new followers. Now, for those of you that are in my network or want to be in my network, you can join my group on Facebook where we pose questions. I help you. Anything that comes up, just go to facebook.com/group/constant contact with the number 1. And for those of you that don't have constant contact yet and would like to take it out for a spin, here is the basic package. It's $20 a month and $45 a month with the choices or the ultimate, but most people go with the essential. And the essential is my favorite package because of autoresponders and being able to have so much more that you can do for your social networking. There is a special offer for today. If you sign up, you will get the first month free, and you will get free coaching, and you will be invited to all of my educational webinars, along with Facebook Help and eBay. So eBay is my true love. Since 18 years, I've been an eBay seller and educator. So I help people with eBay, and it would be my pleasure to help you. The plans, again, start at $20. There's no contract, 100% money back. And please sign up with my link so that I can get credit. Now, there's more. I love this. But wait. Also, if you already have an account and you're already with Constant Contact, you can also be in my network with free coaching. Just send me an email and I'll send you the information. They are running a special 40% off for the next 3 months, which is really a great deal. So you could get started for the $20 package for like $12 and the $45 package for $27, which is really a good deal. I've been with Constant Contact for quite a while. I've only seen this one other time. And I will actually reimburse you for the first month. So I will pay for your first month to take it off. You can get a free trial at powersellingmom.constantcontact.com. You can also text the trial. Get out your cell phone right now. Send a text message to 99000, and in the message box, put my name, Danna, D-A-N-N-A. And that will set you up for a free trial with Constant Contact. Or you can email me at dannacrawford@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to assist you with any of your needs. If you're ready for 40% off for 3 months, again, my name is Danna Crawford, and my consulting services are included with eBay, nonprofits. I do public speaking. And also, I'm now going to thank everybody for joining me tonight. I went over about 8 minutes, and I'm going to switch over to questions now. I'm going to stop the recording, And so feel free to type in your questions, and I will stop the recording, and you will receive a copy of this within the next hour.